I'm Bob Colt, and we're continuing our conversations in Charlotte Public Schools. Jake Briney is with me today, varsity basketball coach, and that's how a lot of people, certainly at the high school level, know you, but that's not all you do in Charlotte, is it?
No, this is, I've taught alternative ed for 1 year. I taught technology for 1 year, and then I did at-risk last year. And then I'm back in technology this year. So I've been at a couple of different buildings and a couple of different levels the last 4 years. So.
And the basketball team is off to a good start.
We're off to a great start. Blessed this year with 7 seniors, and I'm enormous with you roll with your seniors. I mean, they're our leaders. They're the end-all, be-all, and I'm blessed with 7 seniors this year, and had an excellent summer. And it's carried over to the start of this season. We beat Lakewood on Tuesday, and they were a little bit younger, junior loaded team. We played pretty well, and then we upset Western on Friday, who was picked near the top of our conference while we were predicted at the bottom of the conference. We beat them on our home opener on Friday, so it's a real good start for my boys this year.
Good. Well, you know, people must be you must be challenged, but people must be confused to have a varsity basketball coach teaching at the elementary level.
You know, you see sometimes with coaches, you have sometimes the PE teachers, you know, and stuff like that. And I'm blessed. I like the level that I'm at because it gets me started with the younger kids, gets them excited. We had 4 families that were here on Friday, and their kids were the ball boys and the ball girls and the water boys and the water girls, and we took some pictures with the kids before the game, which was a really, really cool deal for the kids and for the families. And you know, I'm blessed to teach over 800 kids, and from kindergarten through 3rd grade every day. And so they see my face a lot. They see our logo and the basketball gear a lot, and that carries over to in season, them coming to the games and the Saturday programs that will start here in February and March, and into the summer league and summer basketball camp schedule too. So it's tough to go to the store or wander around town here and not get stopped by a lot of kids and families that ask how things are going, but in order to build a program, you got to start young. So me getting into the buildings with the younger kids is very helpful. Yeah,
so you're like a celebrity in town because everybody knows you.
Well, you know, I don't know if I was a celebrity last year at 3-18 was our record last year. I don't know. Maybe I was. I don't know if I could say I was a celebrity, but I'm blessed to be able to teach a lot of kids, be involved here at the high school, and be able to be involved with all the kids here at the high school also, and being involved with the junior high teams and getting in with those teams. Our girls varsity coach teaches at the junior high, so he does a lot for our basketball program also to continue to work together with that. But it is nice. It's also a challenge too. I mean, going out to dinner with my wife, you usually get stopped by a lot of families and a lot of kids you know, want to come and say hi to you and stuff like that, which is good. I enjoy it, and it's definitely it's fun. It's fun.
So what does it take to be a good coach?
Patience. You know, I started out very young. I was a college basketball player, and I was a college baseball player, and I was also a girls basketball coach in Minnesota at a very young age. And I went to a high school where they sold out a hockey arena of 5,000 people, and you couldn't get a ticket to go to a high school hockey game. In our first basketball game, we had 6 fans there, and that's where I started off at. And then I taught and coached in Lansing for a few years. And then I was at East Lansing for 4 years with Rob Smith and the girls program there, and we coached numerous games at the Breslin Center and a state championship, and lost another state championship. So I've learned from a lot of great mentors, and my dad's been a varsity basketball coach for 35 years. He's been the state of Michigan Coach of the Year twice, in '92 and 2002. So at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, I was blessed to sit on his bench and go back into the half times and be able to hear that. And back in '86 when they went to the state finals, when I was 5, I was pretty blessed to sit on the bench of the state finals in Minnesota at that point. So being a student of the game is huge. You know, we're blessed that my coaching staff we do a lot of things from the clinics and other practices and being involved with other college coaches, going to practices, them coming to us, film study. I did that today on our snow day. While the kids are at home enjoying their snow day, we had film this afternoon of our opponent for tomorrow and Friday. And so I would say number one, patience, and number two, being honest and upfront with your kids and families, and number three, expect a lot out of your coaches. My JV coach does a great job. He was a former varsity coach, so I'm very blessed having him on staff. And my freshman coach teaches here at the high school, and he's a young, energetic guy that does whatever you ask him to do, which is good. He gets here early in the morning for shootouts and stuff like that. So.
So you've kind of grown up in a coaching family.
Oh, I very much so. I grew up with, if you wanted to see Dad, you went to his practices, and before that, in Minnesota, he was the girls' varsity coach and the boys' varsity coach. So basically the whole school year he was gone. So he was practicing till 6 or 7 every day, and my mom would take me to the high school and drop me off for Dad's practice, and I would have my gear on and wander the gym with the whistle and would blow it every once in a while, and that's just what we did. If we wanted to see Dad, we went to that. We went to the games on Tuesdays and Fridays and riding the bus on a road game, and I grew up with that. And my grandfather was a referee for almost 40 years before he passed away a couple of summers ago. So as an umpire and referee, chasing him around as a little kid, and I started coaching baseball when I was in high school, 11 and 12-year-old all-star team, and I've kind of just carried up. And I have a 2-year-old girl and a 4-year-old girl, so they're present at practices every once in a while, and they enjoy when the boys come over, or if we're doing film, we're having a team dinner at the house. They get a kick out of that. They get to show off a little bit for the boys or the coaches or whatever. But I kind of grew up with it.
Well, so as you coach at the high school level, what does it really take? You've seen it for a number of years, and you've been exposed to a lot of different coaches. What does it take to be a good high school coach?
I guess it goes back to picking a philosophy and doing all you can to, mentor your coaches.
Because these kids are in development right now.
Oh, very much so, very much so. I think patience. I think one of the travesties in coaching is getting the coaches that have their philosophy, and those kids are going to play that philosophy whether they have the skills for that or not. And every year we adjust a little bit based on the personnel that we have coming into our program. And
you change.
You have to. We have to. And I think in this day and age too, none of my coaches, we're not shy to get after the kids, but we're not end-line coaches. Nothing drives me more crazy going to a high school practice or a college practice, and the second something goes wrong, a coach has got to get him on the end line, and they're going to punish, or try to scare the kids or intimidate the kids. And for our kids, it comes down to our seniors and our senior leadership, and holding the other kids on the team, the 4 juniors that we have, accountable for their attitude, their effort, and practice. And that's, I came from a tough coach at East Lansing that he had his times where he wasn't afraid to get him on the end line, and that turns kids off to basketball and doesn't really get a lot done. And I'm big against that, and I try to work with my coaches on that too.
Well, young people have changed a lot. You can't do the same things people used to do.
You can't anymore. And in the social media that we live in, if you say something in practice, if you do something in practice, it's gonna be tweeted, it's gonna be Facebooked by your kids, it's gonna be all over the place, and somebody's gonna have a cell phone in the hallway, and it's gonna end up on YouTube, or you've seen that on the news last year with Rutgers coach, and there's all kinds of stuff, and so the world that we live in. You got to be extremely careful for everything that you say and do, and we expect a lot out of our kids. We do not cuss at our kids. Our kids do not cuss in practice at all levels, from myself as the varsity coach all the way down, and it's just something that we've tried to change a little bit out here, and I'm trying to change these young men into in the job world or whatever they do, or in school, whether it's a teacher or whatever, they're not going to be able to do that. So we're not going to do it for those hours.
What do young people learn from basketball? What do they learn from being engaged in athletic competition?
It's a lot of life lessons. You know, we had to make some tough cuts this year. You know, we continued to work with the kids on the life lessons. Last year we were 3-18, and there were a lot of life lessons that were taught, and it's like that in the job world, you know. And so we had a lot of opportunities last year to teach, from the in and out of school, the in and out of practice, the community events that we were involved in. I mean, there was a lot of tough challenges that we faced last year, and you know, this year it's gotten off to a good start. So there's been a few more smiles this year, because the stuff that we have preached and the stuff that we have tried to do with these kids, they're starting to see a few results out of that. And it started with the summer program, you know, with the attendance and being there, and our boosters got us a new shooting gun this year, which is great. So we're able to get that into the gym a little more to help us out, and you know, so it's a learning lesson every day.
What do you, as you look at, I mean, you've grown up in a family of coaching, and you see both boys and girls, men and women advance in a sport. Are there more similarities than there are differences as they develop?
Yeah. You know, I think my biggest experience between the two, if in a girls' practice, if something went wrong, it seemed like it got held on for a couple of days. And I learned a lot on how to handle those situations and stuff. Working with the girls' varsity program all the way down to the freshman level, I just kind of learned some tricks here and there to how to handle those situations if something arose in practice or during school or whatever, or at a team dinner. You know, with the boys, you know, they get upset for about 3 minutes and it's done. And whether it's a couple of words exchanged or a quick conversation they have, it seems like it passes pretty quickly with the boys. And I think that was a big difference that we had. And I found that in my experience, it seemed like girls listened a little bit better. I think boys, you know, they always want to share their opinion on things when you don't want it or don't ask for it, you know. And it seems like with girls it was more of okay. And with the boys, it was like, but why? Why do we do that? Why do I cut here? Why do I gotta move here? You know. And, I've truly enjoyed working with both.
Well, you're actually a role model for a lot of these young people, and sometimes we have good role models in sports, and sometimes we don't. So, how do you process that as a coach to try to set good examples?
Well, it's hard. You know, I'm watched a lot during games. And I can get pretty worked up and emotional at games, whether that's a call that maybe didn't feel like it went your way, or maybe the kids are struggling. You know, and that's hard, knowing that I got a lot of eyes on you, and especially teaching with the younger kids. You know, I tell the kids at school, and I told the kids on Friday their home opener, there's Mr. Briney the teacher, and there's Mr. Briney the coach. There's a little bit of a difference. You know, they're not going to see me act like that in the classroom. Getting after a kid, or if a kid doesn't run off the floor or whatever, some of the things that we try to work with the kids, you know. But it is, and really, whether that's in town shopping, or in the classroom, or in the hallway, the way that I act or conduct myself, or in and out of practice, or attending a CGO game or a junior high game, or whatever we decide to do, there's always eyes on you, especially young eyes. And I've been a teacher for a long time, so I've kind of, and it came from my dad, who was a high school principal and athletic director and a varsity coach for a long time, so he's always given me lots of little advice here and there on things to do and what to do, and I haven't been perfect, absolutely not, and but it's a constant battle and challenge to make sure that you always take a breath, you know, before you get going.
and you know, kids who are so engaged in sports, it's a great opportunity for them to stay engaged in school, because they have to perform in school to perform in athletics. But also there may or may not be college role models, or even professional athletes who are role models. And so you've got a challenge to make sure that kids are headed in the right direction, have a good attitude about sports.
Well, it is, and it's tough, because not very often do you watch an NBA game and not see a lot of bad habits that you tell your kids to to not do or not say or not act like. I mean, it's hard to get through an NBA game without watching 3 or 4 or 5 technical fouls.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with college games too. And it's hard with that to try to model things for kids or have kids watch things. But yeah, there's a lot of tough things out there for these kids nowadays, and there's a lot of distractions out for kids nowadays too. I mean, when I was a kid, we walked in the door and we threw our backpack and we'll see you at dinner time, Mom and Dad. And things have changed a little bit. I have kids on my team that have jobs right now and work on the weekends and are full-time students and basketball 6 days a week. And you know, times have changed, and social media has changed too, you know, and that makes it a little bit tougher too. And we've had our times, and we've had to talk to the kids about watch what gets posted and watch what gets tweeted and stuff like that out. And there's a lot more distractions and problems that have arose the last few years with coaching that we have to keep our thumbs on. Yeah,
when I was young, the only thing we did was engage in baseball or basketball, because that's all we could do. That's all you had to do. But there are a lot of distractions now for young people. How do you recruit them into your program then, with all of these other things in their world going on?
Well, I hate to use the word recruit, you know, because
you
know, with the world of school of choice, or as I call it, the athletic choice. You know, it's always a tough thing.
Well, you play with the kids that you have, but I mean, recruiting, creating a positive environment that they're attracted to basketball.
It is, and you know, I think all of us coaches, I think that we have currently on staff, from football and baseball and wrestling and everybody, I think we're all doing a good job of making sure we're keeping these kids busy and encouraging the kids to come out for different sports and stuff like that. And I think that's a big benefit for kids. And kids sometimes only think they can choose one sport or 2 sports. And it seems like when they start fading away from some of that structure in their life is when they start getting themselves into a little bit of trouble, start getting themselves into you know, some of the problems that these kids face and obstacles that they face. But yeah, it's a little bit different out there, and it's tough, and kids don't understand it at such a young age. Well, if I post something on Facebook about a team we're playing or a kid we're going to face, or if I tweet something out, or it always gets back to us, and that's hard, and kids don't see that at 16, 17 years old, you know, or if they send a text to somebody or whatever. They don't realize that that's the consequences that they're facing. But you can't do that in the real world. You can't send an email to your boss if you're upset at something and oops, or post something on a social media site about a boss or a coworker or something like that. That's not, you can't do that. And so it keeps us busy. So
for basketball, it's such an athletic game because there is physical engagement constantly. But it's also very much a mental game too, isn't it?
Well, you know, I tell the kids basketball is 60-40. It's 60% physical, 40% mental. And I guess there's a lot of studies out there and coaches say different things, and I've heard the 80-20 and all kinds of stuff. But for me, and I guess really with the kids that I have this year, it's about just as much the mental as it is the physical, because we have a lot of talent. I have a lot of, we're not very big, but we're fast, and we're good when above the shoulders is focused and they're having fun and they're looking out for each other. We're a pretty good team, and I think these first couple of games the kids have seen that a little bit. You know, at times last year we were hard on each other. We questioned a lot of things. Well, why is this happening, or how come this, or whatever, and I've really seen a difference this year with the attitudes in practice, the attitudes in games. You know, kids are not upset if I have to pull them out of a game for a particular reason. It just seems like the mental part this year has been a big difference for us for the start of this season, and part of that's another year of maturity out of these kids and buying into what we're talking about, what we're preaching to them. And but yeah, I think the 60-40 is huge. We have the physical talent. And when we've struggled in our scrimmages and our practices and some of those things, when we've struggled, it's because 2 or 3 kids are upset at themselves, whether it's a shot not going in, or maybe they want to do something a little differently or whatever. And it seems like we're able to be a little bit more mature on things this year than we had last year.
A disciplined, mature team can kind of overcome what would be a very talented individual.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's a lot of examples out there of that. I think that's and the kids are starting to figure that out a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
And this week will be a good test. A road game tomorrow, coming off a snow day, is going to be tough. And a Class A powerhouse here on Friday, who Mercy ruled us last year. That's got several kids back. So we had a couple of good tests. Coming up to challenge us on some of those mental and physical things.
And so, what do you look for this year, Jake? I mean, you're off to a good start. You've got a lot of seniors back. You're winning, but there are some tough challenges ahead, right?
Oh, there is. I mean, we have some challenges coming up. Christmas break is always tough. You encourage the kids and you expect the kids to get out and keep exercising and keep running and getting out and doing all these things. And they're high school boys, so they're not going to be shy to take some days off. And we get back into the gym here a couple days after Christmas with some open gyms and some practices, so that they'll get a little block of time off. But you lose a lot over that span. You forget a little bit of the mental part from the plays and some of that stuff, and physically, surprisingly, you lose a lot when you take 4 or 5 days off. And we worked hard to get to this point where I feel we're in pretty good shape, but we lose a lot. But January 10th is going to be a big day for us. Last year, we got the Sportsmanship Award for the state of Michigan. The top 100 teams receive a banner, and there'll be a presentation at the home game January 10th against Eaton Rapids, our rivals. From last year being recognized as the top 100 teams, which was kind of neat for our kids and our administrators, because that was, we had a rough year last year, and we had some challenges in front of us last year, but I felt our kids were, despite some of the tough times, are very respectful to the refs, and our administrators here do a great job of helping the officials, and we get after the officials, and we're hard on them, but we're also very respectful, to them too. And it was nice last year getting that award. I mean, it's gonna be a banner that's gonna be in our gym as of January 10th at that home game. So that's gonna be a neat thing for us.
Coming from a family of athletics involved family, you must always have seen the evolution and be kind of concerned about how parents or fans act at a competition. What do you want people to know? What do you want parents at home to know who might be watching this interview? There is some protocol or a way to act at a sporting event, isn't there?
Don't come to the game with an agenda. I know in all my years of coaching, the families that come to a game with an agenda or expectations of, my son or my daughter better do A, B, or C, and it could be from the coaches or pressure on their kids. I want my son to score double digits tonight. I want my kid to play 25 minutes tonight. I want my kid to, to take 3 charges or get 10 rebounds, and it's that added pressure that these kids feel. And I've encouraged our families this year just to come to the game and enjoy watching your son play. And it's a game. It's a game. And we're not going to win every game, and we're going to do the best we possibly can as coaches to prepare your son for those games. But don't come to the game with an agenda. These kids don't need any more pressure on them than they already have from the seniors, from the coaches, and from the fans, and they're already nervous and all that other stuff on these games. And for the families that come with those, I hope this happens, I hope this happens, I hope this happens, and I hope this happens. That's hard on the kids,
Sure.
and come to the game and enjoy watching your son. And in the blink of an eye, our season's going to be over. And in 3 blinks of an eye, your son's career is over. And I still like going back to thinking when I played in high school and played in college, and I wish. And I tell the kids that every practice is another day, and you don't know, with a knee injury or whatever the case may be. And we've had some challenges with concussions this year to start the year with 2 of our boys, and just come to the game and enjoy. No official's perfect, no coach is perfect, no kid is perfect, but come and enjoy those 32 minutes of basketball. And if your son goes 0 for 10, oh well, did he play good defense?
Mm-hmm.
Did he get some rebounds? Did we win the game? Did we lose the game? What can we improve on? I just think that's huge. And nobody's perfect, but have a good time. Get a popcorn, get a Gatorade. Enjoy the game, and I think That's huge for all the levels, and I see that all the way down to our second, third, fourth, fifth graders. And the kids don't need any more added pressure, because you're going to turn the kids off to basketball or whatever sport or whatever activity that's going to be. The more pressure these kids are facing, and with the challenges that they have, and these kids battling for playing time and battling for positions on rosters, and they don't need that. It's a game. It's a game.
Well, Jake, thank you very much for joining us. We'll continue to watch you all season long.
Appreciate it.
My best and good luck, and we'll continue our conversations in Charlotte Public Schools.